Welcome to the world of science fiction where the impossible awakens, legends are born, and every journey reshapes destiny. Snow covered the forest like a white ocean. The wind moved through tall trees and made low sounds. Far from cities and roads, a small wooden cabin stood alone. Inside the cabin lived a man named Elias. He was not old, but life had made him quiet. He had left the world behind after loss and pain. The forest was his shield. Silence was his only friend. Elias lived simple. He chopped wood, fixed tools, and watched the sky at night. He trusted nature more than people. Most days passed without surprise, until that night. The storm arrived without warning. Snow fell hard and fast. The wind hit the cabin walls like angry hands. Elias added more wood to the fire and listened. Something felt wrong. Then the sky changed. A blue light cut through the clouds. It moved too fast, too smooth. Elias stepped outside despite the cold. The light fell deep into the forest. Then everything went silent again. Moments later, he heard a sound. It was weak, almost lost in the wind. Not an animal, not the wind, a sound of pain. Elias followed the noise with a lantern. Snow reached his knees. His hands shook from the cold. The sound grew clearer. Soft voices, 2 of them. He stopped suddenly. In the snow lay 2 figures, small, thin, and shaking. They were not human. Their skin shimmered faintly like ice under moonlight. Their eyes were large and filled with fear. They held each other tightly. Their breathing was slow and weak. Elias felt his heart race. Fear told him to run. Reason told him this was not his problem. But something deeper pulled him closer. The taller one looked at him. Her lips moved. A broken word came out. Help. The storm grew stronger. The sisters were freezing. Their bodies glowed dimmer with every second. Elias knew they would die if left there. He stood frozen himself. Helping them could change everything. The world feared the unknown, and these were clearly not from Earth. But Elias remembered what it felt like to be left alone, to be unseen, to be forgotten. He made his choice. With effort, he lifted them carefully. They were lighter than they looked. Their bodies felt cold like metal left in snow. He carried them back to the cabin. Step by step, inside the fire cracked and glowed. Warm light filled the small room. Elias placed them near the fire and wrapped them in blankets. The glow on their skin slowly returned. The sisters watched him with wide eyes. They whispered in a strange language. Soft sounds filled with emotion, fear, relief, and confusion. Elias gave them water. They drank carefully. As if unsure if it was safe, hours passed. The storm slowly weakened. Outside, the forest rested again. Elias sat in a chair and watched them breathe. His mind raced with questions. Where did they come from? Who were they running from? One of them finally spoke again. Her voice was clearer now. Thank you. The words were simple, but the meaning was heavy. Elias nodded. He did not ask questions yet. Some answers could wait. Far above the cabin, beyond the clouds, something unseen moved silently. A signal, weak but alive, traveled into the dark of space. In distant stars, systems older than Earth stirred. Eyes opened, senses awakened. Back in the cabin, Elias added more wood to the fire. He believed the danger was over. He believed this was just one strange night. He was wrong. Because the choice he made in the snow, the choice to help instead of turn away, would echo across the galaxy, and one day, the forest would no longer be quiet. The morning after the storm, the forest seemed calm. Sunlight reflected off the snow in a way that almost hurt the eyes. Inside the cabin, Elias watched the sisters carefully. They were awake now, sitting quietly near the fire. One of them touched her glowing skin and flinched. Her body still seemed fragile, but her eyes were alive. They watched everything with curiosity and fear. Elias tried to speak to them. He asked simple questions. Where are you from? Why are you here? The sisters only shook their heads. Then the smaller one pointed to the sky, her eyes wide, as if something terrible had followed them. Elias did not understand, but he nodded. He could see the fear in their eyes. It reminded him of the nights he spent alone as a child, hiding from storms, hiding from people who did not care. Something inside him softened. He wanted to protect them. The sisters slowly began to eat. Simple food Elias offered. They had never seen bread or tea before. They touched it like it was precious. Every bite was careful, almost ritualistic. Elias felt a strange connection to them, even if he did not know what they were. Even if the world outside would not forgive him for sheltering them, he felt they needed him, and he needed them. Days passed. Elias tried to learn more. The sisters could not speak English well, but they tried, using broken words and gestures. Through simple drawings in the snow and on paper, they revealed a world beyond imagination, a world filled with ships that could move faster than light, cities built on clouds and stars, rulers who were not kind, and a race that hunted them like prey. The sisters were not just lost travelers. They were royalty, heirs to a planet that had been betrayed. Elias struggled to understand, but the fear in their eyes was enough. They were not lying. He could feel it. Their memories flashed in strange images. Images that burned faintly in his mind. A palace, a throne, a war, a shadow chasing them across galaxies. One night, while the sisters slept, Elias looked at the sky. Stars seemed sharper than usual. He noticed a small blinking light far above, moving too fast for a plane, a signal, a ship he did not know, but he felt a chill run down his spine. He realized helping them was not safe, not even close. The sisters woke suddenly, both standing near the window, staring at the sky. They whispered words Elias did not understand. The glowing on their skin grew brighter, a warning, a fear, or a call for help he could not tell. The next day, Elias tried to prepare. He gathered tools, strengthened doors, and carved escape routes through the forest. He did not know what was coming, but he felt it would be big. Something he could not fight alone. Then came the first sign of pursuit. A faint humming in the air, almost like a whisper. The snow outside did not move. No wind, no birds, only the sound. It was low, deep, and intelligent. Something was coming. The sisters huddled together, their glow pulsing softly. One of them touched Elias' hand, a gesture of trust and fear. That night, Elias stayed awake, watching the forest. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound exaggerated in the stillness. And then he saw it, a flicker of movement, far above, a small vessel, sleek and dark, moving too fast to be human. He realized the signal from last night was answered. Someone or something was hunting them. The sisters were not safe, not on this planet, not even in the snow-covered forest. Elias clenched his fists. He could not turn them away. He could not abandon them, not now. The sisters whispered again. This time Elias understood. A word repeated, broken but clear. Hide. They had taught him their language just enough. Enough to understand fear, enough to know danger was near. Elias knew the calm of the forest was gone, the life he had built was over, and the next choice he made would change everything. Far away, in a dark corner of the galaxy, sensors blinked, monitors tracked, a fleet moved silently. Thousands of ships, each a predator. The signal had reached them, and now, the hunt was on. Back at the cabin, Elias looked at the sisters, fear mixed with determination in their eyes. He realized the universe was bigger than he ever imagined, and for the first time, he felt like a part of something greater, something worth fighting for. The storm had passed, but the danger had only begun. The quiet forest would soon shake, and the life of a simple man would collide with the might of an entire empire. Elias lit the fire one more time. The sisters sat close, glowing faintly, their eyes wide, and somewhere above, invisible and patient, the hunters were already moving. The night was darker than any Elias had ever seen. The snow-covered forest seemed quiet, but the silence was wrong, heavy, almost alive. Every tree shadow looked like a moving figure. Every gust of wind whispered danger. Elias sat by the fire, sharpening his knives. He could hear the faint crackle of the wood, but his eyes were fixed on the window. He felt it again, the hum, low and powerful, coming from above, from somewhere far beyond Earth. The sisters huddled together, their skin glowing softly in the firelight. They whispered in their broken English words Elias did not fully understand, but the emotion was clear, fear and urgency. "They are coming," the taller one said finally, her voice soft but firm. "They never stop." Elias felt his stomach twist. He had imagined danger before, but never like this. Never a threat that could wipe out worlds. Never a force that would not rest until it found its prey. Hours passed, and the humming grew louder. He stepped outside, the snow crunching under his boots. The stars above were sharp, bright, and still. Then he saw it, moving fast, a shadow, sleek and black, gliding silently above the trees. No sound of engines, only the faint hum in the air. And in that moment Elias understood. These were hunters, not human, not forgiving. They could destroy everything in seconds, and they were searching for the sisters. Back inside, the sisters tried to calm him. They touched his arm, glowing faintly. A strange warmth spread through Elia's body. Not heat from the fire, something else, something almost alive. The sisters' power was subtle, but it was there, a reminder that they were more than they seemed. The first attack came quietly, at the edge of the forest. Small drones, dark and sharp, like black insects, moving in perfect formation. Scanning, searching, analyzing. Elias grabbed a rifle, though he barely knew how to use it. The sisters whispered, guiding his aim with gestures. a strange connection formed in silence. He fired once, and one drone exploded into tiny sparks. The other drones stopped, hovered, then retreated just out of sight. Elias felt a mixture of relief and fear. This was only the beginning. They were testing him, testing the forest, testing the sisters. Over the next days, the sky changed. Elias noticed strange patterns, tiny lights moving far above, sometimes blinking, sometimes still. The sisters grew anxious. Their glowing pulses became faster, like heartbeats. They whispered words Elias did not know, but their meaning was clear. Danger, approaching, hide, survive, fight. Elias realized he could not run. This forest was their home, and his too. He had to prepare. He began making traps, digging small holes, camouflaging the cabin. Every shadow became a potential threat. Every sound made his blood run cold. One evening, the sky turned red at the horizon. A faint vibration traveled through the snow. The sisters' glow flared brightly. They screamed in unison, a sound that made Elias' chest tighten. Then he saw it, a massive shadow moving above the trees. Too big to be a plane, too precise to be a meteor. And he knew, without question, the hunters were coming in force. The sisters told him a secret, a whisper in broken English. Not all are soldiers. Some are scouts. We must be ready. Elias understood now. This was no simple chase. This was a hunt across galaxies. And Earth was only a hiding place, a tiny point in a dangerous universe. The days that followed were tense. The sky rarely cleared. Strange lights moved above, sometimes disappearing, sometimes hovering just out of sight. Elias taught himself to track the signals. He learned to read the pulses the sisters emitted. It was a new language, strange and dangerous, but it gave them an advantage, a small one, but enough to survive for now. One night, as snow fell silently, Elias heard a sound unlike any other. A deep roar, low and terrifying. The ground trembled beneath him. The trees shook. The sisters screamed and grabbed his arms, and then he saw it, a ship, enormous and dark, hovering over the forest. Its size blocked the stars, its lights sharp and focused on the cabin. Elias' heart pounded. This was no drone, no small scout. This was the first wave. The real hunters had arrived, and in that moment, Elias understood the truth. The forest, the cabin, his life, none of it would ever be safe again. The galaxy had found them, and the fight was about to begin. The sisters glowed brighter, almost painfully, their whispers urgent. Elias clenched his fists. Fear surged, but so did something else. Determination, courage, a stubborn refusal to run, because he had chosen to protect them. And now, the universe would challenge him for that choice. The hum in the air grew louder. The first wave of thousands was coming, and the night in the frozen woods became a battlefield of patience, strategy, and survival. Elias looked at the sisters, and for the first time in years, he felt alive. Not safe, not calm, but alive, because this was bigger than him, bigger than Earth, and maybe, just maybe, humanity could survive if they dared to fight. And far above, beyond the reach of the forest, the hunters moved silently, countless ships in formation, each one a predator, each one hunting, and the cabin, small and fragile, was about to change the fate of the galaxy. The frozen forest had grown quiet again, but it was a silence that screamed. Elias could feel it in his bones. Every shadow, every snow-laden branch seemed alive. The air itself vibrated with anticipation. He did not need to see the hunters to know they were close. The sisters glowed faintly, a pulsing light that changed with their emotions: fear, urgency, hope, determination. Elias felt each one like a hammer against his chest. They whispered urgently in their broken English, "We cannot hide forever. They are coming. The Empire. It never fell." Elias froze. Empire. What did they mean? Slowly, they began to reveal their story, in broken words, gestures, and drawings. They were not just survivors. They were royalty, the last heirs of a galaxy-spanning empire, a civilization of unimaginable power, betrayed and nearly destroyed. The sisters had escaped when their homeworld fell, hunted relentlessly by enemies who wanted to erase their bloodline. Elias felt the weight of their words. He had sheltered 2 girls from a storm, and now he held the last hope of a lost empire in his cabin. The universe, vast and dangerous, suddenly became a personal threat. Every decision mattered. Every wrong move could destroy them all. Days passed. The skies above the forest darkened with movement. Small lights flickered far away, signals from the approaching armada. The hum in the air became louder, deeper, almost like the heartbeat of a massive living machine. The first wave of scouts was gone. The main force was arriving. Elias could sense it. feel it in the vibrations beneath his boots. The sisters helped him prepare, not with weapons or machines, but with knowledge, subtle energy, and strategy. They taught him how to read the signals in the sky, how to understand the language of light and vibration, how to sense danger before it appeared. He learned quickly, not out of choice, but necessity. Every second could be the difference between life and death. Then came the first real message. A signal carried on frequencies Elias could feel more than hear. Thousands of ships forming patterns in space. They were coming for the sisters, and now for him too. The sisters glowed brighter, almost painfully. Elias saw images flash in his mind. Scenes of planets burning, cities erased, fleets destroyed. The hunters did not negotiate. They annihilated, yet there was one choice they never expected: a human. Standing unarmed, willing to protect two alien princesses, a human refusing to bow. Elias understood the stakes. This was not just survival, it was a test of courage, intelligence, and heart. The Empire may have fallen in space, but here, on a tiny frozen world, humanity had a chance to show its value. He prepared the cabin, turning simple wood and stone into traps and shelters. Using the forest as cover, every tree, every snowbank became a potential advantage. He worked tirelessly, the sisters guiding him, sometimes whispering, sometimes touching him with their energy to steady his nerves. Then, one night, the sky split open. Thousands of ships appeared at once, dark, massive, humming with power. Their shapes blotted out the stars. A silence fell over the forest that felt heavier than any storm. The sisters stepped outside, glowing with power. Their voices joined in a strange melody, a resonance that Elias felt in his chest. The ships paused, hovering, as if recognizing them. The Empire had not forgotten them, and their enemies hesitated. Sensing the force that still lived in the sisters, Elias watched in awe and fear. The forest shook beneath the weight of what was coming, and in that moment, he realized the truth. The fight would not be simple. It would not be clean, but the universe had brought him here for a reason. A human, small and fragile, yet capable of courage and determination, could be the turning point, could make the difference between extinction and survival. Then the first scouts descended into the forest, moving faster than the eye could follow. Elias grabbed his weapons, ready to protect. The sisters' glow flared brighter, energy radiating like heat from a sun. It was beautiful and terrifying, a reminder of what was at stake. And as the alien fleet surrounded the cabin, Elias understood something powerful. The galaxy's greatest threat had come for two girls, but humanity's courage was about to show itself. The Empire may have ruled stars, but a single human, willing to fight, could change everything. Above, the ships moved in perfect formation, thousands of them, circling like predators. Below, the cabin stood, small, fragile, and defiant, and between them, a man and two sisters, bound by trust, courage, and the unshakable belief that even the smallest heart could stand against the weight of the galaxy. The night stretched on, the hum of engines, the glow of the sisters, and the heartbeat of a man ready to fight, created a tension that could not be broken. The first battle of many was about to begin, and the universe would never forget the frozen forest, the cabin, or the courage of a human who chose to protect the last hope of a lost empire. The sky was no longer the familiar black of night. It was alive with light. Thousands of alien ships hovered above the forest, dark shapes blotting the stars. They moved in perfect formation, a mechanical heartbeat pulsing across the sky. And at the center of it all, the cabin, small and fragile, stood defiant. Elias looked up, his breath frozen in his chest. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but he could not leave. The sisters were here, alive because of him, and he had made a promise to protect them. The sisters glowed brighter than ever before, their energy pulsing like two suns. Their eyes shone with determination. Their whispers filled Elias' mind, not words, but feelings. Fear, warning, courage, and power. He felt their strength radiate through him, and he understood something important. The universe did not just obey power, it respected courage, and the courage of a human could make a difference. The first wave of ships descended, silent, fast, precise. The forest trembled under their weight. Trees bent, snow fell in avalanches. Elias fired his rifle at the scouts. Bullets seemed useless against the advanced armor, but the sisters touched his shoulder. A strange warmth coursed through his hands, and suddenly he saw patterns, weak points in the ships. He could sense the technology, feel the pulse of the engine, and for the first time, he knew they could fight back. The alien fleet hesitated. The sisters' energy flared higher. The air around the cabin shimmered, the hum of the approaching empire collided with the sisters' glow, and for a moment time seemed to stop. Elias felt the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders, and he smiled, not with joy but with determination. He shouted, "Come on," and ran into the forest, setting traps, guiding the sisters' energy, using the snow, the trees, the cabin, every advantage, every weakness. He became more than a man, he became a force, small, human, yet unstoppable in his courage. The ships attacked in waves, lasers cut through the trees, explosions shook the ground. The forest became a battlefield, but the sisters' glow turned the tide. Their energy disrupted the enemy ships' systems, turning precision into chaos. One by one, small ships faltered and fell, their destruction leaving fire trails in the sky. Elias dodged, ran, and fought, every action precise, every breath calculated. He could not fail, and the sisters guided him silently, teaching him what they could not say in words: energy, courage, strategy, and instinct. Hours passed. The fleet regrouped, larger ships now descending, but something unexpected happened. The humans of Earth began to watch. Satellites, telescopes, even military scanners detected the anomaly, but none interfered. The world was unaware of the stakes, and yet, Elias' courage became the shield of two galaxies. Finally, the moment came. The largest ship hovered directly above the cabin, a massive, dark fortress, its size blotting out the sky. Elias looked at the sisters. They glowed brighter than ever, and he realized, it was not just about survival, it was about defiance, showing the galaxy that courage, empathy, and humanity mattered. The sisters extended their hands, energy exploded outward, a wave of light so bright it turned night into day. The alien fleet faltered, sensors overloaded, engines faltering, ships collided, falling into the forest and mountains. And through it all, Elias ran, guiding the sisters' power. Human determination matching alien technology, small but unstoppable. When the dust settled, thousands of ships were gone. The forest was scarred, but the cabin stood. Elias stood with the sisters, breathing heavily, hearts pounding. The glow faded, leaving only warmth and trust. The sisters smiled at him, not fully, but enough. They had survived. The Empire's legacy survived, and humanity had proven something essential, that courage, empathy, and determination could stand against the galaxy itself. Elias looked to the sky. The stars were bright again, silent, peaceful. But he knew the universe was watching, and that one small cabin, one human, had changed its course. The sisters stepped forward, and whispered, "You are part of this now." Protector of two worlds, Elias nodded. No words were needed. The night in the frozen forest had ended, but the story of courage, defiance, and hope had just begun. Above, distant fleets retreated. The galaxy learned a lesson that would echo through space. Small hearts, unyielding courage, could turn tides that seemed impossible. And in the frozen cabin, where one human had made a choice to protect instead of ignore, a legend was born, one that would be remembered in stars for generations. And far beyond the forest, the hum of the universe continued. But now it carried a new rhythm, the pulse of humanity, strong, brave, unbroken, and ready for whatever came next. Asterisk.